this is Tia Gamble from Cloud Academy. We are so excited to have you join us today to learn more about what's new at Cloud Academy with the head of content, Andy Larkin. Now, before I hand it over to Andy, there are a few housekeeping rules. The first is, this webinar is being recorded and will be shared via email when it's available. Number two, today's going to look a little bit different than previous webinars. Andy is a little under the weather and unable to join us for a live Q&A today, but was gracious enough to record today's session at an earlier date. So with that being said, feel free to submit your questions through the Q&A box throughout the webinar. And if I'm unable to answer them, I will surely pass them along to Andy to personally answer your question. Lastly, at the end of the webinar, there will be a brief end of webinar survey. We truly appreciate your feedback as it helps us improve your future webinar experience. So without further ado, let's hear more about what's new at Cloud Academy.
Hello, Andy Larkin here, Head of Content at Cloud Academy. Welcome to this webinar. I'm going to walk you through some of our latest content that we've released, give you a little bit of a tour of some of our new features. I have to apologize up front, I do have a little bit of COVID, so I sound pretty bad, but hopefully we'll get through this okay. I like to try and keep it live and fresh, so I'm not a big fan of slides, so here's a rough agenda. I'd like to bring you up to speed on some of our latest content releases and how they can help you master modern engineering and help you become a builder with cloud services. I'd also like to give you a few tips and tricks on how to navigate our library and to get the most out of Cloud Academy. So, let's get started with the new stuff first. We have over 1,500 courses, 800 plus labs in the library focused on modern engineering and cloud services, all about best practices. We like to release around 40 courses and 30 labs each month to keep you up to date with the latest new features and the greatest best practices, so you stay master of your domain. So let me take you on a little tour of what we've just released and give you some tips on and help you decide what you should be learning next to keep progressing as a cloud ninja. First, let's look at programming. Now, if you're a total beginner to programming or even an expert looking for more, we have you covered. We've got all the modern programming languages in the library. We added 3 new Python courses and 4 new Python labs this month. And this latest content helps you progress with collections and exceptions in Python. And the labs provide you with practical guidance on working with data and data sets. Now, we have over 500 courses on Python and over 380 labs on programming with Python. So we cover it all basically, and those use cases are based on your asks. But we like to organize that content into task and role-specific learning paths to make it easy for you to stay focused and to master the knowledge you need to become a modern software engineer. Now, if you are interested in front-end development, you'll find new content on Node.js and a series of practical labs to help you master common web APIs. Really cool if you're interested in front-end development. And if you're interested in front-end development for mobile apps, we've really got you covered this month. We've added full learning paths to take you from beginner to advanced for Android application development with Kotlin. And if you're interested in iOS or Objective-C, then we have a comprehensive learning path helping you learn how to develop mobile apps for iOS. Those two alone can give you all the skills you need for front-end development for mobile. But let's face it, choice and compatibility is everything for front-end development. So we have added a new learning path called Introduction to Cross-Platform Mobile Development with Xamarin to help you get started with cross-platform development. So this learning path is designed to help you get started with mobile app development using C# and .NET and the Xamarin tool. Now this is perfect if you're perhaps familiar with C# or .NET and you want to start building cross-platform mobile apps. Great place to start. Okay, so how about back-end development, I hear you ask? Well, we cover all the key languages and we've added more over the last month. We've added programming with Java, which is a comprehensive learning path to take you from beginner to master in Java programming. We've also added a learning path for C++ programming. Again, from beginning to master, all you need to become a C++ programmer. You've asked us for more practical guides to the Go programming language, So we've added the Go Beginners Challenge Gauntlet, which is a hands-on way for you to practice and get mastery over the Go language. You've asked us for more support on cryptocurrency and blockchain, so we've added a cryptocurrency and blockchain deep dive. This will give you all you need to do to master cryptocurrency development. Now, if you're interested in programming security best practices, then check out the CSSLP certification preparation learning path. That learning path will provide you with a solid security foundation and certify you or your team in secure software development. If you're more into ethical hacking, then the practical deep dive into pen testing and privilege escalation and our web penetration testing and bug bounty hunting learning paths are going to be for you. Now, here at Cloud Academy, we aim to cut through some of the noise and to make it easy for you to master modern engineering. So check out our role-based training plans if you want a place to just get started. Our learning coaches are here also to help you if you need help or guidance. Please reach out to us at support@cloudacademy.com so we can help you. Okay, let's talk AWS. So we recently released a new comprehensive learning path to prepare you for the new AWS on SAP certification. This is hot off the press. Now we cover all 11 of the AWS certs with a blend of courses, labs and exam-based learning paths. And we commit to covering new or updated AWS certifications within 10 days of that certification going general availability. Stuart and the whole AWS team work really hard to make sure that the certifications are up to date and the best way to get you ready for any of the AWS certifications. Danny and team have been working really hard on this SAP one. Trust us to keep you up to date and keep you across what you need to know for those new exam formats. Now, as well as keeping you up to date with the certifications, Stuart and the team have done some amazing new releases in the last couple of months. What are the key highlights, I think, for me? Working with the AWS CDK version 2 Toolkit Lab and Lab Challenge. So the AWS CDK is a super cool tool to power all levels of operations and development on AWS. So I highly recommend checking those new labs out. We also added a Amazon SNS and Amazon CloudWatch Lab Challenge, which is a great way to get familiar with common stack notification scenarios. Well worth getting into that. Okay, so how about Azure content? Well, we released 11 new Azure Labs last month, which cover a range of security tasks and best practices, from managing teams in Microsoft Teams Admin Center to securing Azure web application settings using Key Vault secrets or simplifying password reset using Azure AD self-service password reset, and even connecting Azure web app to Key Vault for application settings. And we put that together in a lab challenge so you can really test out your ability to get those things right. Anyone working in admin or security with 365 or Azure should be really interested in the running simulated phishing attacks with attack simulation training in Microsoft Defender for Office 365. Again, that's another cool lab for you. We also added some more best practices for Azure DevOps. So we've got a practice effective DevOps with Azure DevOps Challenge. Setting up Azure DevOps Server for on-premise development, another key course to know, very useful if you're working in hybrid scenarios. And also interacting with Azure Cosmos DB for Next.js web applications using application settings. All good stuff for anyone looking at building applications or infrastructure in Azure. We also released a number of Power BI courses to help you work with data sets and manipulate data in Power BI. Okay, so Google Cloud Platform. Our GCP team are also quite focused on DevOps and infrastructure best practices this month. So we've added courses on configuring GCP access and security, configuring Google Cloud CDN, Content Delivery Network, and troubleshooting virtual machine networking issues on Google Cloud Platform. Also, there's an introduction to the Google Cloud NAT. Another highlight for me this month is the Bigquery data challenge we released. So it's a really interesting way to learn and master data manipulation in Google Bigquery. It's kind of a must skill for anyone planning on working in data science or with big data in my view. Okay, so while we're talking best practices, let me tell you about our latest FinOps content. Cost optimization is something everyone needs to know, And accurate forecasting, cloud forecasting, is a key skill for any cloud practitioner. So I recommend checking out our latest FinOps content and getting yourself familiar with it and on the road to becoming an expert in cloud forecasting. Okay, so Cloud Academy is a combination of cool content and an awesome product. That's how we help you train smarter, faster, better. So just to update you quickly on some of the features we have coming, we're working on right now. Our new job roles framework is my favorite new feature this month. That allows you to start from a job role blueprint, say cloud engineer or cloud architect or Python engineer, for example, and then add or remove any of the tools, stacks, or technologies that you want to create your own curated job role. So to give you an idea of how this can work, if we want to add cloud fundamentals to our job role here, we can select that as a skill and then set which level we want to have it for the various tiers we have for our job role. It might be for junior or intermediate or advanced. We want to have cloud fundamentals as a key part. We could also add a different skill, like maybe we want to add agile development as part of each of these job roles. Like it's a skill that we know that the team has to have. So we can add that skill in here and then set the level we want for each of the tiers we have. They can be junior front-end engineer needs to have simple skills, mid-front engineer needs to have mid-level skills, and then our senior front-end engineers need to have those skills. So this is really flexible. You can see how you can add particular things and build your own. Very cool. And that's the flexibility that you get from this tool. You can literally curate the job role that's relevant to your stack. And so it becomes really, really, really powerful. Great tool. So the Cloud Academy job role application is a real game changer in my view, and it's a brilliant new addition to the Cloud Academy Skills Intelligence platform. So I'll look forward to sharing a bit more about that with you right here when it goes GA. Meanwhile, you can check out the first version of it on our site. Okay, so thanks for joining me on this quick tour of what we've been releasing and what's coming. I'd like to give you a little bit more information about how to find things in the library now, and at the end of that we can have a little Q&A if there's any questions you have for me. If you've already logged into our platform, you may have noticed we have a range of different types of content. So we have learning paths, we have courses, we have labs, which includes lab challenges and lab playgrounds, and we have our assessment exams. So our learning path is essentially the core learning unit on our platform. So our learning path provides a collection of courses, labs, and assessments focused on a particular objective, a subject or a goal. And so you will find a learning path for each of the 11 AWS certifications that are available, for example. And learning paths effectively group all of the content we have together into a defined and structured plan to help you gain the knowledge and experience required on a set subject. And right now we have approximately 200 learning paths across the Cloud Academy platform. Next we have courses, and courses provide theoretical knowledge and are the learning materials that my team and I produce. So each course will contain a series of lectures broken into manageable chunks to help you absorb the key concepts and information required. So our production team use different techniques to keep things interesting, as let's be frank, some of the topics can be a little dry, right? So we try to mix it up and use every kind of technique we can to ensure you don't suffer from slide fatigue. The courses themselves are set between beginner, intermediate, and advanced levels to help those who have different levels of experience and knowledge. And they range from the shorter basic topics to the more advanced and in-depth deep dives. Now, the third piece is labs, and they're arguably one of the most favored elements of our training material. And labs come in three flavors. First is hands-on labs, and these are guided experiences to learn in a live cloud environment, and they help you build and validate practical experience in one of our sandboxed accounts. So you get step-by-step guidance to practice your skills, allowing you to solidify practical knowledge in a short amount of time, try out a few things, learning how to do things but in a hands-on way, and we clean up afterwards, right? The second type of lab is called a lab challenge. Now, lab challenges are non-guided labs, and they use a validation step to demonstrate your problem-solving skills. So basically, they're hands-on labs with the gloves off, right? You get to jump into an auto-provisioned environment, and you're given a goal to accomplish. No instructions, not much in terms of hints, And to pass, you've got a limited amount of time to complete the checks that inspect the state of your lab environment at the end. Very clever technology and a great way for you to show your proficiency. The third type of lab we have is lab playgrounds. And this type of lab provides a safe and secure sandbox environment for you to explore your own ideas. You can follow along with our Cloud Academy courses. You can answer your own questions, all without having to install any software or use your own account. So you should feel free to take a few risks and try some unfamiliar tools and commands in a sandbox environment. Even if it means running into a dead end and needing to start the lab all over, you can pretty much do what you want in there. We clean up afterwards. Okay, so our last piece of content we have is called assessments or exams. And you will find these at the end of our certification learning paths, for example. And they are designed to prepare you for the type of question that you'll need to answer and the type of experience you'll have in an actual exam. So if you are studying for an exam, these are a great way to assess your level of understanding and if you are prepared enough to sit that exam. So our whole question bank is over 14,000 questions, and that means you can take our practice exams multiple times and answer new and different questions to prepare you for a relevant exam. Okay, so let's jump over to our platform and have a look at some of this content in more detail. As we can see at a high level on the menu here, we cover a lot of topics. So at the top of the page, you can see the latest content we've released. And each month, we publish an average of 60 courses and 30 new labs. So this is a very good way to keep up with the latest new services and content that's been produced. With these content stripes here, you can scroll right through the list, and content is marked as either new or updated if it has been added or changed recently. Let's have a look at the actual structure of these categories. So we can drill down through the menu category to find the content that we want. And each of these options within the AWS category opens into a series of content stripes, which can help you navigate and find the best start point or look for something specific. Say, for example, if you want to focus on any of the 11 AWS certifications, you can find them all in here. As you can see here, we can click into a learning path, and we're presented with a summary of what's in this learning path. What is the average duration and the steps included in this? Very clean, very simple. Now, I've just opened up the new Sysops Administrator Certification Learning Path, which is quite an interesting one. So we cover all 11 of the AWS certs, and we commit to having new content available in the library within 10 days of an AWS exam going general availability. So basically, we have you covered. Right, now this new Sysops learning path is really interesting because the exam uses a mix of lab step and multi-choice questions. So it's a very interesting one, and I recommend you get right into that. Okay, so we have this high-level view of what's in the learning path here, and we're outlining some of the description and the learning steps. We can expand any of the items we see here to see what's involved in each. You can see we've got a mixture of short lectures, we've got some labs here, and we've got an assessment at the end. So we can expand the lab or course step to see what's involved inside it. We can also go directly into the content if we want. So a couple of cool features I want to highlight for you here. First, we know making the time to study is one of the biggest challenges with learning. So you can set a date here to help you keep on track with your training plan, if you like. Plan your training. You can set how long you want to commit each week, and basically the system will help you stay on track with that plan. So if you enable this, you will see this learning path appear in your dashboard next time you log in, and there will be some cool reminders and prompts to keep you on track. Another thing I want to point out here is that you can access Cloud Academy from anywhere. So if you're in the middle of a learning session, or a lab, or a course, and you need to leave to catch a bus or go somewhere, you can send this session to your phone and continue working on it while you're on the move. A couple of tricks with courses. We appreciate everyone has their own preferred way of learning, so you can set the speed of playback to suit yourself right here. You can make the course faster or slower to suit what your needs are. Another thing is captions and transcripts. So if you're more of a reader someone who rather likes to read rather than listen or watch, then you can consume this content at your own pace using the captions or transcripts. Now, you can also skip around lectures. If there's a topic you feel you already know, then you can skip ahead to the next lecture, no problem. You can go back to the Learning Path landing page at any time by clicking this little purple tab on the left. Now, if you want to go back to the actual summary page, the landing page, click on the title at the top here. Now, when we update a learning path with what we call a major update, you receive notification of that change, and you're prompted to check out the new version. And when you return to the learning path, you might receive a message like the one we're saying here, just letting you know that the content has been updated. Now, this message is just letting you know, right? So if you don't want to learn the new content for any reason, then you can continue with the outdated content without impacting your progress. Now, these green icons on the left here are labs. So let's take a tour around labs. There are labs included in most learning paths. You can just kick off a lab or a course at any time from the menu over here on the left. In the menu, you can see there are 3 types of labs. You can also find content using the search box. This will return all content related to your search string. This is a very good way to find specific services or topics. So it's pretty comprehensive. It's ideal for power users. We've got over 300 labs in the library, so you might want to limit your search results a bit. And as an example here, I'm searching for Python, and let's say I'm looking for some sort of content on Python strings. Now, in our search results, I can filter by course, lab, or learning path. The basic lab is the follow-along environment where you can create and manage any AWS service within our lab sandbox. You don't need your own account. These are great for practicing using AWS services. Second is the lab challenge, and that's the fast start environment where you are asked to perform a series of steps, and then the labs engine validates whether you have completed that step correctly or not. So this is super clever, and one of my favorite challenges, for example, is the Solution Architect Associate Lab Challenge. That is a great way to level up and see if you're ready to go and sit that exam. And the third type of lab here is the lab playground. And as it sounds, that is a fully managed environment where you can try out anything, and we will keep you safe and do the cleanup when you're done. So what about if you want to test out your current knowledge of a topic without doing a lab? Well, that's easy too. Over on the left menu here, you can see the red icons are quizzes and exams. So quizzes are short tests to double check your knowledge or learn with quick fire quiz questions. So very short, 5 minutes or less. And there's plenty of them, and they're organized by topic, by role, and of course you can just search for specific topics within the library. Now, quizzes don't alter your skills score. So if you do a quiz and you don't pass it, that doesn't show up as you not knowing a topic. Exams are more structured assessments on a topic. And there are 3 types of exam. So we have knowledge checks, which generally appear throughout our learning paths. We have final exams, which appear at the end of a learning path. And then we have cert prep exams. Now, you can take any of these exams anytime, and there is a bank of questions for each exam, so you can take an exam more than once. And for the cert prep exams, there are hundreds of questions, so you can take the exam multiple times to help you prepare for sitting that cert exam. Now, exams do count for your skills score. You can exit the exam at any time and the score will not be impacted, all right? So these can be a way to identify where your current skills are or progress your skill profile forward. And we'll talk a bit more about skill profiles in the next section. Okay, I just want to take a moment to show you around the dashboard and what you see when you first log in and come back to Cloud Academy, all right? So let's just go straight to our dashboard here from the button. So I've logged in, and just to give you an idea of what you'll see the first time you come in or when you come back. Now, over here on the right, we have this section called My Weekly Goal. And this is just, again, helping you to really keep on top of learning. You know, it's the biggest challenge, isn't it? Just making time. If you just make a little bit of time each week, it makes it possible to get to where you want to go as fast as you need to, right? So again, we're just making it very easy for you to make it a habit So this reminder is great because you can set how many days per week you want to be training. Just by setting this here, we can choose 3 days per week or 5 days, depending on how aggressive we want to make our training plan. Update it to be something realistic, and you'll be reminded of that and you'll keep on top of it. Fantastic. We also recommend or make recommendations about content that would be relevant based on the choices that you've made. And this is a good way of just making sure that you're covering as many of the topics that are related to your interest as possible. We also just quickly summarize what's new in the library here, just giving you an update on just been released. Okay, so the next tab down here is the actual training. So that's our dashboard. Here's a sort of summary of our training currently underway. I've got the ability to assess my skills quickly if I want, and if this is something that you're keen to level up on, you can do a quick evaluation, which is really cool. I've got this self-assigned training plan here where I've got certain progress in here. I can resume it. I can also edit it. I can do things like change the due date, so let's just do that. We'll make it something a bit more reasonable because I'm already a little bit late here, so let's make it by the end of January. I'm going to finish this, okay? So that's that goal. I'm just updating that for myself there. Excellent. I can also do things like disable the nudges if I get a little bit too sick of being reminded, which hopefully doesn't happen, but if you do want to reduce the number of nudges, you can do that. You can change the title of it if you want to, like you can customize content in the library inside your account in any way you like, or you can just get rid of it. So that's another option. Most importantly, of course, is to resume, so keep going on it. And we can also put a few more weekly reminders in here. So I might just say, look, every Monday, just after lunch, just remind me, okay? And I can add that to my calendar really easily. Nice and simple there. All right, I've got 2 learning paths, self-assigned learning paths here, which are going to be part of my learning for this next 3 months. You can add as many as you want in here. If you want to create a new one, you can just do this from this button up here. So from this, I can go through the existing training plans in the library, and this is a really quick way of just assigning yourself the kind of content that will help you pass or progress in a topic. And yeah, there's plenty in here. There's thousands to choose from. Basically, you can self-select any you want from in there. Okay, the next tab down here is my activity, and this is really a summary of what you've been doing. Okay, and it's quite useful just to see how you're going, how your progress is, and if you need to level up in any way, this is a great way of just finding out. So I've just got a summary here of the content I've completed. I've got my courses. I've got my summary of my hands-on labs, what my sessions were even, if I achieved them and succeeded. And these are great for the lab challenges, so you can just get a quick summary of how you're doing. Really cool. Okay, so yeah, those are very, very useful summaries here. You can also get a summary on your exams, see how you're progressing. And this again is very, very useful for you just to sort of get an idea of how you're going. Look at your results from any of the passes or attempts you've made. You can get right into the results here, which is super cool, just to see what you did, how you went. And I was just doing a test here, so I've only done 3 questions. That's why I didn't pass it, but yours will be a little bit more useful. And of course, it shows you what your tracking is in terms of your progress. So if you make a positive step forward, then your bar will go up. And as you can see here, mine's actually dropped down because I've been testing these exams without finishing them. And so, yeah, I've gone down in score. But that again is a really quick way for you just to see how you're doing. You can go through all of these sessions, get a summary of everything you've done here, basically. So really, really cool. And if you're just interested in going back and redoing anything, this is a good place to start. You can find things in here under my activity. Yeah, and all of the topic types are included in here. All right, so really, really neat. You can go in here, see what you've completed, go into the learning path, and review it if you want. It shows it's done because you've completed it. Again, quite really useful. And the other option you have here is bookmarks. So these are a really good way of keeping all of the snippets of things that you like when you're going through a course. You can bookmark anything as you go. The saved explanations are another neat way of doing this, so that if you're in a question and you didn't get it right in a quiz or an exam question, for example, you can just save those explanations, and then you'll have this list here of ones to review before you go ahead and sit the actual proctored exam, for example. Very, very cool. Very, very useful. And to give you an idea of just how those bookmarks work, stop that, but here I have the option to add this as a bookmark, right? So if I add that now, that will show in that bookmarked list in our dashboard. If I ever need to get back to my dashboard, here it is. Okay, I can just get straight in from here. Always get back to any piece of content by clicking this home option up here. The icon over here to the right is more about your account profile, but just to get back to your dashboard, use the home icon at the top here. And if I want to look into my activities again, and I want to look at exams, let's start one up here. Everything that you've answered and how you've done in each of the areas, which again is really, really neat, okay? Because you can work out which areas you might need to work on, which areas you're proficient in, and again, it's just a really good way of getting you ready in the areas that you need. All of the answers are reviewed and saved here. So when you finish an assessment or an exam, all of the questions you got right and wrong are summarized. So again, it helps you learn and get things right. I love this. I think it's a really cool way of helping you learn the things that you didn't quite get right and explain to you why you didn't get it right. Very, very neat. And of course the ones you got right, it's good to see those and just go, yep, okay, cool. I always try and review all of these if I do any of these assessments. I think it's a great way of actually adding another layer of learning. And each of the questions has an explanation, so it basically gives you any links to any relevant content that's going to help you even further with just understanding any of these topics. So I can just improve any of these areas as well just by clicking on any of these links, and it will give me quick skill assessments that just help me level up on those areas. So for example, we can just do a quick quiz, and again, it will help us. This my current score. So if I do this quiz, it's going to improve my fundamental knowledge and level up my skill even more, which is great. And remember, we can bookmark any of these while we're going. We can skip them. It's good if you can give us any feedback. We really liked negative or positive, just so we can keep these questions really relevant. If you have an issue, you can also let us know about that. You can skip the question if you like. You can try this, and will give me instant feedback on whether it's right or wrong, okay? And isn't that neat? So you can just basically go through these quizzes and be learning all the time, all right? Lovely. And then at the end, if you want to submit it, you can, and that of course will increase your score, as we saw in that first screen. Or we can just discard it and say, okay, I'm still not ready here. I don't know enough about Redshift yet. I know that I'm at the intermediate level, but I'm not quite proficient yet. So I'm just going to discard this quiz, all right? And that allows me to just sort of hospital pass on that. It doesn't go against my score, which is important. If we are like looking at leveling up and we want to just show that progression, then we can do these quizzes without saving the scores, basically. That's great. Okay, so we've looked at bookmarks, we've looked at the activity, and we've looked at our training dashboard. And remember, we can always resume any session. We can discard any session from here as well. So if, for example, like I'm a bit behind on this, I've probably just got a little bit too over ambitious trying to do 2 at once. So I will just remove this one. All right, there we are. And once it's gone, it's gone. Okay, so that will just stop all the reminders and any of the nudges, and take out any of that training plan that you had in your dashboard. And of course, we can just resume from in here, which is always cool. It'll take you straight back to where you were, how far you've got into the learning path, what the next parts are, and what you should do next. Remember, we can always get back into the dashboard of the learning path from here. And remember, if I ever get lost or I'm not sure where I am or I want to just get back to my dashboard, use the home link up here. Okay, it just takes me straight back into there. Okay, so that's a quick overview of some of the tools that are here in the platform to help you progress. All right, the goals and reminders and training plans are a really cool way of just helping you get through and be successful. Cool. Okay, so remember, our ultimate goal at Cloud Academy is helping you be successful in your roles. So we have a lot of these role-based fast starts in the menu over here. Now, these role-based paths are designed to help you master the skills required to be good in that role. They're not just about the certifications. The certification learning paths are the fastest and most efficient way to get you ready for passing that exam. okay? These are more in-depth and practical. They're designed to help you be good at your job, right? Now, they're brilliant if you are considering a shift to a new role, or you are just keen to enjoy being more of an expert at work. Okay, so we read, digest, and reply to all user feedback and suggestions. So if you spot something that's possibly out of date, or you just want to suggest something that you think should be in the library, please contact us using the feedback button over here on the right and let us know what you're thinking, okay? Now, if you need help or guidance on where to start or where to find something specific, the best option, I think, is to reach out to us at support@cloudacademy.com. Okay, that brings us to the end of this webinar. I want to say thank you very much for your attention today. Hope you found it interesting. We're going to do a quick QA, so if you have any questions or is anything I can answer for you, Tia's going to run that QA for us. Please stay on the line and let us know what you're thinking. If you have any feedback or comments, really like to hear those. Thank you very much for your attention today. Tia, I'll hand over to you.
Alrighty, lots of exciting new content and great tips on how to optimize the use of the platform. So bravo to Andy and his content team. So it looks like we have came to the end of this webinar. So thank you all for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed today's webinar. But before we part ways, here are just a few reminders. The recording will be shared via email as soon as it is available. Again, a brief end of webinar survey will pop up at the conclusion of this webinar, so please take a moment to help us improve. Additionally, you can find more on-demand webinars on our website at cloudacademy.com/webinars. This concludes today's webinar. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and we hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.